Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
How much do you care about agriculture?
How far are you willing to go to keep agriculture in our world?
In the quote Carson just said, Dr. Seuss makes a very good point. Although we aren't living in the barren town of Needville with plastic trees and bottled air, we can still take from this quote and apply it to the world we live in today.
Good morning. I'm Emily Newman, and with me today are my fellow members of the Blue Corduroy. Carson Fernandez, Gracie Hart, Alan Elliott, and Madison Story from the Prairieland FFA chapter.
In the movie The Lorax, the townspeople are unknowingly living in a town made of plastic without knowledge of what is actually around them, not even knowing what a simple tree is. Did you know that 72% of today's consumers know nothing or very little about farming or ranching? Just like Dr. Seuss's movie The Lorax, the townspeople had no idea how they were living in a town made of plastic with no trees, no fresh air, or any kind of agriculture.
Just like the townspeople, that 72% of our world has no understanding of the agriculture we use every day. From the clothes we wear to the food we just ate or are going to eat, and everything else is all related to agriculture. The townspeople had no desire to even learn about what was on the outside of their small plastic town, except for one boy who goes by the name Ted Wiggins.
Now, if we could get everyone to care about our world and agriculture as much as this little boy in the movie does, our world would be a much better place. According to the Farm Flavor website, to keep up with projected population growth, more food will have to be produced within the next 50 years as the past 10,000 years combined. How is that possible, you might ask?
Well, the answer is, it isn't. If we don't start telling people about agriculture and what it does and how it is the greatest necessity of our lives, we may end up just like the town in the movie. Today, the average U.S. farmer feeds 155 people compared to in 1960 when a farmer fed just 26 people.
Agriculture is so much more than the modern society realizes. It's the milk we drink for breakfast, the chairs we sit in every day, and the pillow we lay our heads down on at night. Agriculture is the root of all living. What's scary is that 57% of farmers and ranchers are age 55 or older and likely to retire in the next 2 decades.
The number of farmers in the U.S. has decreased from 6 million in 1935 to 2 million in 2012. And farmers' incomes are in the sharpest decline since the Great Depression. Part of the reason of this sharp decline is because today's farmers are facing so many more challenges than the average business owner, including EPA, real estate, and energy challenges. Everything that's in the headlines of the news affects our agriculture.
But how can we tell people about the importance of agriculture, you may ask? There are so many ways, but one of the first steps should be through social media. We know you so often hear this and usually turn a blind eye to the thought, but we must take a stand and create that web presence to educate the consumer, because if we don't, someone with cruel intentions will.
Did you know that over half the world's population owns a smartphone? The average teenager spends 9 hours a day on social media. In those 9 hours, they see many things, including advertisements. Whether those advertisements be for clothes, sports equipment, phone accessories, and much, much more.
But what about agriculture? Do we ever see ads about our agriculture, or how our food is produced, or how in a couple of years we will have very little farmers left to produce food across our globe?
We must do everything we can to advocate our agriculture. It takes people who will care about this world and all the future generations to come. If we don't start taking matters into our own hands and caring for our children, grandchildren, and maybe even their grandchildren, we may end up like the town of Needville.
Maybe not literally with the plastic trees and bottled air, but think about it. For every 300 million people, only 1.5% of them are producing food. And they are doing it on less land, with fewer natural resources than ever.
The farmers face criticism day in and day out from the people sitting in their air-conditioned homes, eating their groceries that they bought at the store that they didn't have to grow, and covering up with a cotton blanket and laying down on a nice fluffy pillow, all because of agriculture.
You see in the movie, the Onceler betrays the animals and the Lorax, breaking his promise and cutting down their trees. Just like the Lorax, farmers, ranchers, and producers have a genuine interest in being stewards of the land and preserving our natural resources through sustainable agriculture.
The Onceler for years sat and stared at the rock that the Lorax left behind, wondering what it meant. It was the boy Ted who made him realize,
Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not.
He gave him the last trivial seed to plant and told him to make the people care about trees.
We have to make people care, make them want to preserve our natural resources, such as water, fertile land, and forests. According to the American Farmland Trust, an organization with the initiative to protect farmland, we are losing nearly 40 acres of farmland an hour. Once paved, the irreplaceable natural resource is gone forever. Something that may seem as insignificant as planting a single seed in the middle of a town can initiate change. After all, it's not about what it is, but about what it could become. So much we care about our farm and ranch land. So much.
Because as farmland is decreasing, we risk losing the ability to feed our families in the future. With farmland being a legacy, what will we pass on to our future generations? We risk compromising biodiversity and wildlife habitats, and paving over prime farmland will have negative environmental impacts on our clean air and water.
So let's start caring a whole awful lot. Let's teach the people of this world about the root of all life,
Agriculture.
Be a Ted Wiggins and go out to teach people that there is more to this world than the industrial and artificial things people have come to believe.
Give people the opportunity to learn about today's agriculture so that they can begin to care a whole awful lot. Once again, we're the Prairie Agriculture Advocacy Team saying you can't reap what you don't sow.
So let it grow.
We are now ready for any questions you may have. Unless someone...
Although we aren't living in the bare town of Needville with plastic trees and bottled air, we can still take from this quote and apply it to the world.
They can't do it.
Okay,
4, I think.
3.
we are now ready for any questions you may have.
And then we all step up as one.